Yo, what is going on, guys? We are back today for another video, and we finally have a response from Kabam when it comes to the entire revive and apothecary situation. So it's been about like 8 or 9 days, I believe, since the all this drama started, and I've seen a couple people say that it's almost. And I've thought this too. I have thought this too, but I will say I am an extreme overthinker, and so I like to think about millions of useless and possible what if scenarios, and that's just a big waste of time. But I definitely have thought of this before, and it's just the idea that when Kabam makes these changes, they make a joke post first that is just so off base. They know people are going to flip, and then once everyone flips, they release what they actually initially wanted to release, and then that calms everyone down and everyone accepts it, because like it's still bad, but it's like not as bad as it initially was. And I think that's true? Maybe sometimes. In this scenario, I don't think so. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about. But before we get into all this, guys, I'm just going to be giving you my opinion on it, how it affects. I'm going to show you how these changes affect me, if they more benefit me or are more detrimental to my experience in this game. And also, so I'm just gonna be honest, give you my thoughts like that. But also, I highly suggest checking out two other videos talking about this, and I highly suggest these two videos in particular for a couple of reasons. Reason number one is because both these guys, I love them. Two of my favorite MCC YouTubers, two of the biggest, no, the two biggest MCC YouTubers as well. So yeah, you guys all know them, Brian and Seaton. But the second reason is these videos are the sides to the same coin. Two different sides to the same coin. So, yeah, we got Brian's video here. It says, biggest buff in mcoc ever. Quite the bold title. And then C says, mcoc players deserve better. mcoc players deserve better. Kabam's greedy tactics. Yeah, so very different videos. They say very different things, but I highly suggest you watch both of these videos before you form any sort of opinion, and go into each of these videos with an open mind, regardless of which side of the fence you are on. Watch both these videos because they give a unique perspective, and I just watched both of them before making this video, and I wanted to watch both of them before making this video because, like I said, it gives a very unique perspective from both sides. And I feel like they're kind of on each side of the fence, and I'm just like sitting on the fence in the middle. That's kind of where I am. I feel like I'm in the middle ground. That's typically where I try to be. I try not to go to one side too much. I try to stay in the middle, hear both sides out, and just kind of formulate my own opinion, my own decision, and kind of walk my own path. But all right, let's talk about this post. So they finally respond, and there's a lot here. There's way too much here to be reading. So we're just going to be reading the important things. And one thing I do want to point out is that I gave criticism to Kabam that they didn't consult the CCP at all with the original change. But with some of these changes, they did talk to us a lot. We gave them a lot of feedback, a lot of advice, a lot of ideas, and they didn't take everything, but they definitely did listen. They listened to us, and they did incorporate something. So, more kind of your program. So I just want to say I appreciate Kabam for listening after the fact, at least. Okay, so adjustments to the revive economy. So the discourse for last week and a half has not fallen on deaf ears. We understand this change will be jarring and highlighted in other areas which the revive ecosystem should change. One of the most obvious issues is the amount of restriction imposed by the inventory cap. So this is just some math. Like I said, Brian breaks this down a whole lot better than it's broken down here. Like I said, there's a lot of text that I don't want to be reading. But let's talk about the big changes. So the apothecary is changing from 7 days to 5 days and adding 2 more revives each week. So the apothecary is still going to be pretty much the same. It's getting a little bit buffed. But I'm not a big fan of the apothecary in the first place. And I'm like, for example, for me, I really don't see myself running it. And I'll explain why. But I do think it will be, like, if I was, for example, on a free-to-play account or a newer account, up and coming, I still have a lot of content to do, then I would be doing the apothecary. I would be. Especially if I was steadily building up to to do something big in the game, then I would be, within the weeks prior to it, I'd be running the Apothecary a ton to really prepare my stash for it. But I'll talk more about my stash these days in a little bit. So yeah, this kind of crappy. I don't know. I don't know about this, but there are other changes to make this a little better. But at the same time, I don't think that having 3.2.6 was good for the overall game. Just having an unlimited source of revives. I don't think it should be unlimited and just be able to be used and abused the way that it was. But I don't think the Apothecary is an appropriate fix-all either. But some of these other changes I am a really big fan of. So let's talk about those. So the first one is, this is a massive, massive change. So increase the inventory capacity of all single PvE revives from 15 to 20 and 19 to 25 with the sigil. So I have the sigil. So for me, you know, it's basically been 19. So basically 20. So basically what it's been. But now after the change, it'll be even bigger inventory space. So that is huge. That is a very big change, and it's to all different types of revives. So level 1, 2, 3, whatever. So that is a big change. You're going to be able to just hold more revives to have a bigger stash going into anything. That is a really big change. I really do like that. This was one of the ideas that I saw people from the community and people from the content creator program say as an idea to just increase inventory caps, because that's a big problem. And so really happy to see that change finally being put into effect. It's a little annoying that it took this type of debacle to get an inventory increase, but better than it was, I guess. But yeah, I feel like a lot of inventory caps should be changed, updated, increased all throughout the game. But let's stay on topic here. So then the other change is changing the level 1 revive in the Thronebreaker and Paragon 22-hour events to a level 2 revive. Now, this might not sound like a lot, but this is a pretty substantial change. We'll be able to stack 2 different types of revives now, level 1 and 2, easily, passively farm them, you know, without going out of your way to spend units. And that is really good. That is a really, really fantastic change. And with increased inventory caps, you'll be able to not only have now 2 types of revive to stock up and hoard before you go into some daunting quest, but yeah, 2 different types with the increased caps. Much bigger stash potential. So these are good changes. These 2 changes here I do like. I think they are going to be really good for overall game, and they're going to be extremely beneficial to me personally. So in the addition to level 2 revives, guaranteed regular rewards mean summoners can attack 2 different types of earned revives for their runs, taking advantage of the inventory limit for each. Yep. And so timeline, the Apothecary is going to launch in April. It's going to start 5 days, and they're aiming to expand to 7 days in our May build. And then we are planning to increase the inventory cap and add level 2 revives to 22-hour events to be implemented as soon as possible. So ASAP. We're targeting late next week. We will have comment on this post once we have more information. So that's good. That's getting implemented soon. Happy to see that. I want those changes in game as soon as freaking possible. So that is good. And with the Apothecary, I don't care if it's 5 or 7 days, because I'm not going to be running it personally. But yeah, 7 days will be better for the overall community. But yeah, and then there's just kind of a bunch of BS, to put it bluntly, the rest of this post, with talking about potion changes. That's going to be 5 to 6 months. Okay, so like when I just can't trust this. You know, like, they said we would have, you know, mastery changeable things in 2022. They said we were going to get wish crystals. I don't know when. They said we were going to get just so many promises that never got implemented. So when they say this is going to be 5 to 6 months, like, I can't believe you. You don't have my true trust, Kabam. You don't, especially in promises like these, because you don't keep your promises. So this, to me, I don't care. Do I want potions to be changed? Yes. Do I want to wait 5 to 6 months? No. And I'm not even gonna, like, I'm not gonna lose an ounce of sleep over this, thinking about this. Oh, I wonder in half a year, I wonder what the potion econ. Like, I'm not gonna spend any time thinking about that. I don't care. I don't even know if it's gonna happen. So, you know, let's move on. Then we have some more stuff, transparent design philosophy here. And they're talking about, you know, endgame content is at risk. This is where Seaton made and I 100% agree with what he was saying in this video here. Basically, just saying that, you know, Kabam makes so much money, and he really broke down the numbers on how much money they make. Like, I think it's estimated, like, the Kabam's made, or mcoc as a game in its whole lifespan has made $1 billion, and I believe it. I 100% believe it. So, like, content is at risk. What? Don't threaten me with my favorite content, saying it's at risk. Like, oh my goodness. Okay, but at least there is a silver lining in here, which is right here. That's one of my superpowers. I have the ability to see the silver lining in any situation, no matter how bad it is. It's an interesting power. And here, the silver lining is right here. Blah, 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 such as our follow-up to Abyss, which is currently in planning stages. So it's being worked on. The next Everest content is being worked on. Now that brings a smile to my face, because if we go in game here, you guys see I have 21,000 units up there. And I've had those units for a while. And why do I have those units? For this. Just waiting with those units for this. One of the things I want to accomplish in this game is to be the first person to fully explore a new quest like this. How sick would that be? I was top 20 for Abyss. I did it within the first 5 days. But oh man, it would be such a daunting task, but it would be a Herculean feat. But yeah, so I don't know. That's what my units are for. So I don't know. This gets me very excited. But let's get back on track a little bit. Some more BS, a whole bunch of more stuff here that we're not going to read. So yeah, I'll put a link to the post in the description if you guys really want to read all that, which you can. I already read everything like a once over, but yeah, I just want to be focusing on the important things. So these changes. So now I'm gonna show you guys, and we're gonna talk about how this affects me, and like from an endgame player perspective with these changes. Okay. So for me, my account. Now KT1, I was watching one of he's made a few videos on this topic, but I remember at one point he was talking, and it was very relatable for me what he was saying, which was that, you know, basically we both have all content done, and so, you know, we don't really typically need to farm. Like, me and KT didn't need to farm 3.2.6 because new content comes out, we already have a stash. So for example, right now, this is my stash that I did nothing special to acquire. Nothing special to acquire this. This has just been from me playing the game ever since Eternity of Pain. This is how my stash just builds itself up. I don't have to do anything special, I just have to play the game normally. So what do I have? Alright, let's see. I got 19 level 1 revives already here. 6 in overflow. So now with the changes, this is gonna, all those revives that I have in overflow right now are gonna go into my inventory, because the change will be to 25 with the sigil, which I have. So that'll take all my leftover potions that are currently going to just expire and actually put it into my inventory, which is fantastic. That's huge. I always typically have level 1 revives in overflow that just expire that I can't really do anything about. So this is really going to help with that. I'll be able to keep more. And then we look at the level 2 revives. Now this is where that other change is going to be so huge. So I'm not exactly sure where I've gotten these revives from. I have 9 of them. They've come from somewhere. But I'm not even halfway to the max, right? I'm close, very close, but not even halfway to the max. But with the change, the max will not only be increased to 25, so it'll be 9 out of 25, but I'll also actually be able to get these revives on a somewhat daily basis, a full daily basis, if I actually do the 22-hour event, you know, whatever it is. I don't do these every day. Right now, I have event quest completion. Am I going to do this? No. No, thank you. Because I'm already done Thronebreaker. But if I wasn't done Thronebreaker, maybe I would do some quests in there and, you know, try to get the points here. And if the level 2 revives was already implemented in here, then maybe I actually would. If level 2 revives were in here, that would actually make me want to focus on these more and do them more. Because now, one of my goals will be to stack up a max inventory of these. So then I'll have 25 level 2 revives and 25 level 1 revives. That'll put me at a base, just 50 revives for anything. Plus, I have 17 revives. With just that base amount of revives, like, there's not much. I don't think there's anything that I can't tackle with that big of an inventory. Just one path, at least. One path. You know, I'm not saying I get 100% Abyss with just this, or 100% Korean Challengers Volume 3 with this. I'm not saying that. But with this, I can 100% do one path of anything. Any one path of Abyss, any one Korean Challenge, doesn't matter. With this inventory, or with a potential full inventory, you know, once the changes get implemented, I'll be able to handle one path of anything. And then, or like, for example, 8.2. Like, this stash here, I'm extremely confident will be enough for 8.2. I'm even thinking about doing 8.2 itemless. So if I did it itemless, I would still have my entire stash for whatever comes next. So for me, these changes are huge. Like I was saying with KT, basically our stash just pretty much refills itself by playing the game. We don't really need to farm, and you know, our skills are high enough, and we have enough done that we're only needing our stash for anything new. And with our base stashes, before these changes, they're able to tackle, you know, most new things. Of course, EOP was a lot, and all of the green challenges was a lot. So my one stash alone wasn't enough. My base stash got me through all of the Pain Incarnate for the profile picture. So my base stash got me through all of that, and then at least one of the objective challenges, and I did need to use some units for the next one. But you can see the base stash alone got me through so much of Eternity of Pain, and that was before the buff. Now with the buff, with these changes, my base stash is going to be infinitely stronger. Plus, I'll be able to keep more in the overflow. So like, these changes for me are really great, really fantastic for where I am in the game, and end level account like mine, where I just, you know, have everything done and I'm only preparing for next piece of content. These changes are fantastic. Like I said in my last video talking about this, I only ended up using 3.2.6 once. You know, it was out since 2021, so over a year. Well over a year. That thing was out for over a year, and I didn't even know about it. I vaguely remember people uploading videos, how to farm revives, and I'd like get the notification for them, and I'm like, oh, interesting. But I never clicked, because I didn't need to farm revives. I never needed to farm revives. Because like I said, my stash is just usually auto-fills itself, and I'm auto-prepared for stuff. So, like, I never knew it even existed in the game. Until start of 2023, Eternity of Pain, when I did, you know, the full Pain Incarnate and two full objectives. Then my stash was empty. Then I'm like, oh, that's when I actually clicked on those videos, how to farm revives. Oh, okay, go into Act 3.2.6, and I can just get revives. And that's when I found it. And so I only ever ended up using it that one time over the course of like a couple of days, and then I farmed enough do the rest of Eternity of Pain basically for free, which was 4 other objectives. So I do think that it was, you know, a little overpowered. But at the same time, I don't think that this, you know, Apothecary is the best solution for non-endgame players. You know, Seaton made a really good point in his video, basically saying how complicated the game is. And he is so right. This game is like, I try to put myself in the shoes of a brand new player, and I just blow my mind. And I think, like, as a new player, trying to learn every champion's abilities, how to fight them, just learning basic combat controls. Like, there's so much going on in this game. So I feel like newer players could use a lot more revives. That's how they learn, trial and error, right? But that was the problem with 3.2.6. Newer players weren't the ones getting the most out of it, which is what it's meant for. It's in Act 3. The players who were getting the most out of it was Paragon players, like myself, again, who could just use and abuse it. Which, like I said, I'm not saying farming revives is a bad thing, but farming an infinite amount, basically for free, that's self-sustainable because there's also energy refills that you can farm. It was a little much. And, like, guys, like, this did not exist in MCOC before. Like I said, it started 2021. I started playing this game 2016. And just to put this into perspective for you all, when I did Abyss, like I said, I already told you guys in this video that I did Abyss. I was within the first 20 people in the entire world to do a 100% Abyss. It took me, I think, 5 days since launch. Or 4 days. Or 3 days. Was it 3 days? I don't even know now. I would have to go back and check. It was fast. I did it very fast. Every day it was just like 8+ hours live streaming Abyss. And that was not easy. And that was when Abyss came out. That was when it was hardest. So I was using 5 stars to clear Abyss back then. I didn't have 6 stars. I had really crappy 6 stars. So I did Abyss of Legends back in the day when it came out with 5 stars. Guys, I did not do Abyss of Legends for free. No. I probably did Abyss minus, like, the units I have up there right now, minus 1 Odin, about 3,100 units. That's how much I spent to complete Abyss. I believe it was right around 18,000 units. I did the very first path for free with the stash that I had built. And then it was units for every other path. About 18,000 units to complete Abyss. And that was fine. That was worth an extremely worthwhile investment of those units because I made top 20 legends. And, I got all the rewards, which sucked at the time, and they actually were buffed afterwards. But just my point to all this is to be completing new endgame content. It shouldn't necessarily be free. It shouldn't. I paid the units because the content just needs to be worth the units to be spending. That's what I think. And it also needs to be not just how do I say this? Just revive spam. When I was doing Abyss, I wasn't just 20% revive Hercules, 20% revive Hercules, 20% revive. No. That's not what I was using 5 stars. I was healing them to full with potions after I revived them. I was max boosting. Like, that is the type of content where I don't mind, using units. And I think it's worth it because the content warrants such a response. Especially if you want to do it fast. But again, if you want to take your time to do Abyss, slowly build your stash, do it like 1 path per month or something, that's going to be way more feasible than you could do Abyss for free with this new system. So, like, I don't know. With all these changes, my final thoughts on it is that I don't think it's perfect, especially for newer players. I think newer players need something else, need more. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like if there was just a way for newer players to be able to have higher revive drop rates, maybe in 3.2.6 or just in the lower act content, maybe. I don't know. But I do think that the inventory cap and the level 2 revive changes to the 22-hour events are going to be really good for a lot of people in the community, and especially good for myself, for how I approach content. It's going to be... I'm excited. I'm even more excited. I really like building, having my stash get built up and then, get ready for content. Like, it's a very fun feeling. So to be able to just build my stash up even more now, have it even bigger, it's going to give me more confidence going into new content. And yeah, very interesting changes. Very interesting changes. I'm very keen to watch more videos and see how this all unfolds in the community. I'm very interested to see how you guys respond to my video in the comments on this one. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Please drop a comment. Tell me what you think, how you feel, especially if you've watched mine, Seaton, and Brian's video. If you've watched all 3 of our videos, I'd really love to know what you think. Who do you agree with more? Who do you agree with less? Which side of the fence are you on? Can you try to understand all of our opinions? Like, yeah. So highly suggest checking out their videos. Hope you guys enjoyed mine. I rambled a little bit longer than I wanted to. That's going to do it. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for some more content. Peace out, guys.